Welcome back to Hartfelt Beer Reviews. My name is Kyle with yet another review. Today I will be reviewing American Adjunct Light Lagers. As I've previously mentioned in our other videos, an adjunct is an additive that is not natural to the Bavarian purity law of regular barley, yeast, malt, water, and hops. Today I will be reviewing Michelob Ultra Superior Light Lager, Coors Light, and Bud Light. Now, what most people don't know is what makes a light beer different from just an American lager. Well, one, a light beer has lower calories, obviously. That's the main selling point to light beer. Two, light beer does not use malt, which is why it is lighter in color, lighter in body, and lighter in all-around flavor, in my opinion. They are very low ABV beers. They hover anywhere from 4 to 5.5% alcohol by volume. And they're your basic light beer. I'm going to be reviewing 3 of these today. I have 3 separate glasses here that I'm going to get a pour in. I'm going to get the aroma, the taste, and then the final review. These beers also often use rice instead of hops or malts. I should say not hops, malts. They use rice instead of malt to make it a crisp, cleaner, I wouldn't say fresher, but it's just all around more lighter bodied beer. The problem with these beers is most people say these beers are shit beer. They're terrible beer. Well, the thing about beer is the hardest thing in beer is consistency. Just because I brew the same beer 10 times doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to have the exact same tasting beer. It all depends with your cleanliness factor, because yeast is a bacteria, and if I get a single dust bunny in any of my wort or contaminated any of my yeast cultures, then it'll completely change the beer's flavor. It might not necessarily ruin it, it just depends what kind of bacteria is introduced, which you definitely don't want that with these kind of beers, because it would completely overtake the flavor of what little flavor there is to begin with. So, what I want to do is get these into a glass. I'm going to go ahead and pour these. Here's the Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. And there's almost no head to speak of. I mean, that's almost as clear as water. That's almost not even yellow. And that's ridiculous, in my opinion. Here is Bud Light. These do come with the handy-dandy resealable bottles, just in case I can't drink an entire Bud Light. As you see here. Oh, sorry, let me get this moved out of the way here so you can see it better. And I'm trying to aggressively pour this as much as I can to get as much of a head as humanly possible. And there you go, the Bud Light looks like your standard light beer. Pardon the lack of room here. I'm recording off my iPhone, so there's not a whole lot of viewing room. And then your Coors Light. Now, to me, as far as I'm concerned, and this is again my opinion, the one thing these beers have of anything is at least they're cold. I mean, if you've got to have a cold beer and you got to have one right now, these do exist. I've never needed one that bad. And there is a Coors Light. So just to give you an idea, the Coors Light will be on this side. The far left of me, the far right for you. The Bud Light will be in the middle here. And then the Michelob Ultra will be on the far other end here. I'm going to let that stay there. I pardon for the longer video. I normally used to try to shoot a between 8-minute video. This might take a little longer. I'm going to try to cut it down as much as I can. So let's go ahead and review the Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. Let's go ahead and get an aroma. Yeah, that doesn't smell like anything at all. I mean, I'm trying to be as subjective and objective as non-biased as possible. Strictly trying to review these beers for educational purposes. It smells like nothing. I mean, it really smells like nothing. Let's see what it tastes like. Oh. You get a very bad aftertaste of just cheap ingredients. See, my problem with these beer companies, these billion-dollar beer companies, I mean, Anheuser-Busch brings in average of 11 to 15 billion dollars a year. Okay, they can afford to make the highest quality beer possible. Now, as far as quality, I should say, these beers are very high quality beers. You know, they're brewed very well. They're brewed in the cleanest way possible, in the cleanest of areas, because Anheuser-Busch and other brewing companies that are these big domestic beer companies can afford to do so. The problem is they use very cheap ingredients, and they often substitute top quality ingredients that could impart flavor or complexities for a cheaper ingredient, faster output, quantity over quality, and that really bothers me. I mean, I do understand it. It's business. You want to push as much as you can for the average beer consumer. That's fine. I'm not going to tell them how to run their business. Obviously, they're doing a good job. I just think they could be doing a lot better for what they have. This beer is very highly carbonated, which is basically all it is. It's carbonated water with rice and cereal grains. This is very sweet. This Michelob Ultra has a very, very sweet aftertaste. They could, I don't know for sure, but they could use some corn syrups. I'm sure that they do. I know that Bud Light does. At least they did. Now they're claiming that they don't. That they've changed their formula. Have you seen any recent commercials? Again, I don't know for sure. But most of these domestic American light beers use corn syrup, which is just, you just don't want in your beer. I have a water here. I'm going to wash my mouth out so I can taste everything properly. Okay, that Michelob Ultra, I mean, I think it's like 64 calories. I mean, it's nothing. It's 4% alcohol, carbonated rice and corn syrup. If you could maybe stretch to call it beer by definition, but I just don't consider it beer. It's water. It really is. You're, as much as you think that you're gaining for the cheap price, you're really losing because you're not gaining anything for merit whatsoever. Okay, let's try the Bud Light here in the middle. Again, doesn't smell like anything, doesn't have any real aroma. I do get a, basically like the last beer, it's a very faint cereal grain, syrupy sweetness to it. Maybe I can, I know that Anheuser-Busch uses rice in their beer, which is a very light cereal grain that they claim to brew with. So, you know, to me that's, again, they're cheaping you out of a potential to have a good beer by just defeating the purpose and replacing all the grains to faster produce these beers. I'll give it a taste for you. Okay, it's definitely drier. It's not as sweet. I'm detecting a little bit more of you know, these don't contain malt. You're getting almost a maltiness to it, but I know that light beers aren't brewed with malt. So I guess that they're using these cereal grains, the corn, the rice, the artificial additives that they're putting in. I have no idea what these artificial additives are, but it's a little drier. It's a you can maybe in the farthest stretch of the imagination, pick out some kind of bitterness for hops. But it's nothing distinct whatsoever. I couldn't ever tell you what hop they use, if in fact they brew these with fresh hops. I'll give another taste here. I will be telling you what I like the best. Oh, see, these beers, it makes me sick mentally and physically. They're so low quality ingredient beers to me that it's almost not even worth it. I mean, I paid a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and then these 3 bottles, the Bud Light, the Michelob Ultra, and the Coors, for $8. I mean, you can't beat the price. And sure, maybe you can get a buzz going on. But the most that these beers have going for them, at least in my opinion, are they're highly carbonated, they're very smooth, they drink very easily, and they're cold. I mean, that's it, as far as I'm concerned. Again, I'm not trying to bash on anybody's opinions here, but I'm just personally, I've reviewed, I shouldn't say reviewed, I have personally reviewed with friends, and Jonathan, as well as on our Hartfelt beer channel, other beers, and there's so much more out there in the world. I mean, there's so many more styles you could be drinking. And for just a couple dollars more, why not try to venture into wheat beer, which is wheat beer, the German Hefeweizens like I've reviewed in the past. Or even a pale ale. Most people think, I don't like an IPA because it's too bitter. Well, a pale ale you could count it for like a lesser than of an IPA. I like to explain to people that are less knowledgeable in the craft beer field as IPAs are pale ales on steroids. Just more of the ingredients, more hops, sometimes more malt. There are IPAs with malt backbones. There are New England IPAs brewed with dairy lactose and other adjuncts. But then, back to the main subject here. Coors Light, which I personally despise because I think it tastes like absolute nothing. I haven't had Michelob Ultra in 5 years. So, let's go ahead and try this Coors Light. The aroma. You get a real corniness to this beer. They say that they brew with pure Rocky Mountain water that allows you to, I guess, pick out the certain adjuncts that they use, the quality of their adjunct. I don't know if I could accept that statement, but whatever. You do get a more distinct corniness to this. It doesn't smell as sweet. Go ahead for the taste. Other than the corniness, you're not really getting anything. I mean, it doesn't really smell like anything whatsoever. I can't really pick anything out on this beer, which is unfortunate. You get very, very, very mild bitterness. You get very mild dryness, and you just get a very basic graininess to it. I mean, there's no, oh man, I can pick out those malt backbone. I can pick out these hops. It doesn't exist in these beers. I'm going to go ahead and get a final try of all these 3 beers. Tell you which one I think is the better buy for your money. Okay, going to try the Michelob Ultra again. Oh man, I can't get used to that. Bud Light. It's really all starting to taste the same to me because they're just the same style. If you could even loosely consider a light beer a style of beer. Coors Light. Oh man, they sit at the bottom of my stomach and just gurgle in this just fucking dark dungeon of just black, horrible, everything evil you can think of that tastes bad, everything horrible. All these beers are just combining in the bottom of my stomach and just about to burst, and it doesn't appetize me. But again, that's my opinion. If you enjoy these beers, more power to you. I'm not going to tell you not to drink them. But in my opinion, for your money, I recommend drinking Bud Light out of these three. You know, superior light beer, as Michelob Ultra is labeled, has zero taste. I mean, if all you want to do, if you don't like beer and you don't like that beer taste and you want a light, crisp, refreshing beer that has alcohol in it, sure, maybe our female audience would like this beer. I don't know. They could go for the Michelob Ultra because as far as calories, light in flavor, easy drinking, and there's no beer taste. Sorry for that. Michelob Ultra is the way to go. As far as flavor, for me, for your money, the Bud Light is the way to go. It has more of a distinct cerealness, very faint bitterness that I could say they used real hops, that they didn't use some kind of artificial flavoring. And then the Coors Light just tastes cleaner, it tastes clearer, more refreshing. It's a little crisper, it's got a kind of a bite to it. But other than that, I can't really pick anything out. I mean, it's not as sweet. It's a little drier. It's very affordable. I mean, I paid 79 cents for this. So, I mean, it really depends on what you want to do. It says best if used by August of 19. So, we've got a pretty good date here. But really, that's all I can say. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to bash on anybody's opinions, but these beers just don't have much going for them. And if you don't like beer flavor, then this is the way to go. If you want a light calorie, alcoholic beverage, that I would like to call them, then you would want a light beer. And out of Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, and Coors Light, I personally would recommend Bud Light because it is Anheuser, and it's just the better way to go in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed these reviews. I hope I've told you as much as I can, as much as you've wanted to know. I appreciate your viewership and your subscriptions, and thank you for watching this video.